That's some fucking coffee right there. Tim Hortons. We're gonna get off into some flashback shit.
In infamy. The full extent of Biden's cognitive decline was on full display for the world to see.
Hold on. It's better.
For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare, we're trying to make housing for Black Americans. Here's the deal: there's a lot of young women to be raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, and I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
The idea that they're I've been proposing that everybody, the millionaires pay 1%. I got my handicapped, which when I was vice president,
Got his handicap
down to
as
a
vice
6.
president.
He wants to get away with, get rid of the ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies.
Those are not deep fakes, folks. Now, 1 year later, Democrats are struggling with the fallout from their cover-up, and Republicans are demanding answers. House Oversight Chairman James Comer is pushing for more Biden aides to testify, calling on Karine Jean-Pierre, Ian Sams, Andrew Bates, and Jeff Zients, former chief of staff, to answer these questions. Chairman Comer also announced that the committee will issue a subpoena for top Joe Biden aide Anthony Bernal. Here now with reaction, Fox News contributor Miranda Devine and the morning meeting co-host Dan Tarantine. Wow. Miranda, they told us these were deep fakes, everything's fine, but I want people to understand why there are investigations right now. It's because Joe Biden left the Democratic nomination process, but he did not leave the presidency. He was president for 7 months after what you just saw with your own 2 eyes. What do you think is important for the House Oversight Committee to ask these folks? What would you ask them if you had them under oath?
Well, I mean, we want to know how this secret cabal, including the First Lady, Jill Biden, how they ran the presidency. It was a shadow presidency that they were running as Joe Biden's mind turned to...
Somebody else was running the show. That man didn't know what he was doing. Didn't know what was going on. You know, you almost have to feel bad because he really didn't know what was going on. People took advantage of this. They took advantage of him, pretty much. That's the one thing that I'm more upset about than anything is, well, I'm upset on the point was if something really broke out, who was going to lead? Second, they were taking advantage of this man. I mean, just taking advantage of him. 3, come on, lady. Yeah, so they were taking advantage of him. You can't make this shit up, man. So who was doing the auto pen? Who was like running the country? Who was, who opened up these borders? You have to ask that because we were left really vulnerable. I mean, really vulnerable. Just imagine if we were attacked. Oh man, all the rest of these countries were just like, yeah, time to make our move. I gotta pull over here, open up my bags. You have to look at it as like, look at the United States as like if you hired somebody to do something. Now, if I hired a attorney and he wasn't doing his job, he'd get fired. If he was incompetent, he would get fired. Okay, you got to ask yourself, why didn't Harris step in? For some reason, they did not want Harris to be president. Democrats didn't. And then they changed their mind when they didn't have anybody that was good. You got to ask that. Because, you know, we're paying these people our taxes, so they're working for us. If you really think about it. If they were incompetent, you know, you don't need to be there. It's not picking on Biden. It's, they were taking advantage of this man. That's the way I see it. And then, you know, that kind of what pisses me off is taking advantage. Because I love my elderly people. I grew up where I'm from is we take care of our elders. We get our first deer, we take our deer, or we take meat over to an elder. You know what I'm saying? It just feels like they knew it. They knew he was really bad. I mean, his wife even knew. They said that his wife was actually running the show. That they have video of her sitting down there and directing people and telling people what to do and all this other crazy shit. So you got to ask yourself, like, what am I paying these people to do? They're working for us. We're spending our tax money on this shit. And then not only that, the news media tried to cover it up. Every single Democrat tried to cover this shit up. You know? That's why the news media is not getting paid no more. Because they tried to cover everything up. Think about it. You can pretty much, everybody that watches the news, all these channels and stuff, and if they're told false information, they're going to believe it. Because growing up, that's all we had was TVs. And we relied on the news. So if the news is telling you a line of bullshit, most likely you're gonna believe the shit. So that's why I think our president now is calling out all these news medias, because they are bogus. They are full of shit. They are lying to everybody. They're getting paid. They're getting paid to smash on this man. Yeah, Trump does a lot of dumbass shit. Says a lot of dumbass shit, but I'd rather have a fucking dickhead in the White House than a fucking sissy. Like, you know, I'd rather have someone that's gonna be in there that's gonna, man, put fear in people. You ain't gotta be a psycho. It's just the art of war. Art of war. And then you think about it too, is the art of seduction. I'm maneuvering on talking with people. It's, you have to know what you're doing. And I feel so bad because Biden, he didn't know what the fuck was going on around him. And people took advantage of that. And they stole money from the government. Now, if you were with me, right, and we ended up going to a party or somewhere, or off, you know, get together, and the person that I bring, a person or persons or whatever, ends up stealing from someone else, dude, I would be so fucking pissed. I would be so pissed off. I would be so pissed off. And that's what happened. People took advantage of that. Wrote pardons, sending money all around. Everybody lining their pockets like, well, he ain't gonna know what the fuck's going on. Dude, I'd be so mad if someone did that shit, you know. Did that shit under my watch or with my signature. I'd be so pissed off. And that's what happened. Stole. People were stealing. People were pardoning themselves. It's pretty crazy. The types of shit that goes on with behind the scenes. You know? It's pretty fucking crazy. And I know a lot of people don't like politics and bullshit and all this he said, she said bullshit, but all reality, you should pay attention to know what the fuck is really going on, so that people can't just turn around and throw anything at you and then get you to jump and do something stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always look all the way around me on everything that's going on, people that are around me, people I keep around me, you know, stuff that people tell me, because someone could take a story and stretch it out so fucking bad to the point where they can make it not. Just let me say this. You take 10 people, you tell one person one thing, and by the time it gets to that 10th person, it changes. Yeah, it changes. So you should actually pay attention to what's going on, just so that you're not filled with a bunch of bullshit. Let's get back at it.
And we want to know exactly how unwell he was and whether or not he really authorised those signatures on a slew, especially in the final days, of executive actions and pardons. Because if other people did that and he was not fit to approve it,
Yep.
or he didn't even know about it, then that is fraud. And those people are in big trouble.
Big trouble.
I have a feeling, I mean, we had Neera Tanden the other day, who was a close secretary, who was in fact in charge of the auto pen for I think about 3 years of Joe Biden's presidency. She really just gave vague answers. I think it's not a perfect environment. If they're cooperative witnesses, I think you might get something. But these people are Biden loyalists. I think they're going to say as little as they can.
What the heck?
There needs to be some kind of legal compulsion, I think.
Yep.
Dan,
Listen.
are you in favor of these hearings? And if so, what do you think the upshot will be? Will it be that these folks will never work in the town again, or that the Democratic Party will continue to move on to folks like, well, Zohran Mamdani to carry their message?
Well, look, I think sunshine is always the best disinfectant, and I think even for our party to move past it on some level, there needs to be an airing of this. There needs to be some accountability for what happened, because I think there's no doubt that he was declining. You know, I've said before, he probably should have resigned early in 2024, but I think the real question is just, you know, when he was having bad days, how did they manage around this? And I think, you know, what we're going to get is what we saw in these books, which is he was increasingly not engaged. He was hidden even from his senior staff, and his condition was truly deteriorating. As you said, they weren't deep fakes. We all saw it with our own eyes.
Okay. Now, there's people that came forward on this saying that they were told to do the auto pen. Okay. Who told you to do the auto pen? That's the questions that we need to ask is, who told you to use the auto pen? Was it Jill? Was it Chuck Schumer? Was it any of the aides there? And they were saying that they were paying, people were paying to be pardoned. And now they must, a bunch of people must have, that we're going to speak out, must have got threatened. Because now they're scared to even testify. Now they're saying if you don't testify, you're going to jail or prison. Because there's fucking millions and millions and millions of dollars that was shelled out. You can't make this shit up.
So, hopefully at some point the public says, all right, we get it, he was bad, and they move on, but there's going to be some more bad days ahead for the Democratic Party.
Yes, and Miranda, when you recently interviewed President Trump, I think you touched a little bit about that. I mean, he made very clear the way he felt about the man standing next to him then, but as that campaign unfolded and they moved on to Kamala Harris, she had a different set of problems. And I think that plus the fact that people wanted Donald Trump in the big house and never again in the White House, they totally missed what was going on with we the people, what we want in our presidency. So how do you think that gets avoided in the future?
Well, I mean, I think that the Democratic Party still hasn't moved on. Their one note that they had during Kamala Harris's campaign was that Donald Trump is terrible, and they're still on it. I mean, they just oppose Donald Trump and everything he does, and unfortunately, as Trump fulfills his promises, as he stacks up win after win. I mean, I'm sure he'll have some tough times. It's not going to be smooth sailing. But as he increasingly sort of drags in former Democrat voters, I think the Democratic Party is finding itself out on a limb, and it will need to find a new way. I mean, maybe Zoran Mandami is what they've chosen, but I don't think that that's really palatable. I mean, he won 5% of the vote in New York City, so it's not a lot. And I think Dan's sort of the sensible, rational voice of the Democratic Party. They should listen to him if they don't want to just end up in the doldrums.
So, Dan, that's high praise coming from Miranda Devine. Let's all listen to you now. Don't name names. Give us the job description of a great Democratic candidate in 2028. So they're not talking about democracy, and they're vaccinated from Trump derangement syndrome, and they are not talking about abortion every which way and climate. Give us the job description of what you want to see from the standard bearer for your party in the future.
Yeah, I think it's two things. You got to be comfortable in your own skin. Don't try to be somebody you're not. I mean, I think Kamala Harris's biggest problem was she still doesn't know who she is. Is she
she's fucking lost.
Is she outgoing? Is she, this reserved person? And then lastly, focus on the real lives of real people, right? What they care about. It's Donald Trump's secret sauce since 2015.
Yeah, authenticity, nothing like it. I appreciate you both being here.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
But yeah, the reason why I can sit there and go and deliver at the same time is because I listen to it. I listen to it at least twice. See, sometimes you miss something, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we need to start holding these politicians, these governors, the Senate, the House, all these people. We need to start holding these people accountable. And if we don't start holding these people accountable, then the next person's going to come and do it, and that person could be worse yet. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not Republican, I'm just me. I don't need to be with a fucking party to turn around to see what the fuck is going on. I don't need to, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, to know what the fuck is going on. I mean, it's clearly, I don't know how some of these people think. They're just so shut off from the fucking world to the point where they don't fucking understand what the fuck is going on around them. You tell them that it's a fucking cat, they're telling you it's a dog. Like, seriously, can we like make some sense of this shit? I mean, you tell them that the fucking sky is fucking blue, they're telling you it's fucking yellow. got some really messed up individuals, you know. That's all I got to say. But yeah, everybody needs to ask themselves, like, who is really running the country? Who is really running the country? And now everything, you know, when you turn around, you take like 12 people, right? You all did a crime together. Okay? You turn around and find just the right fucking person in that 12, and they'll turn around and tell on everybody. Because you know why? You're going to jail for fucking 50 some years and blah 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 blah. First thing that people think are like, oh fuck. They'll start telling on each other. And then next person will start telling, another person will tell. There's always like 3 or 4 of them out of 12 that'll tell. But yeah, it's just coming out on everything. And the Democratic Party, you guys should be ashamed of yourself for what you guys did to that man. What you did to that elder. He's an elder. He was an elder. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing, and y'all just took advantage of this man. Took money, used his fucking signature on the shit. Y'all took a fucking advantage of this man. You guys should be ashamed of your fucking self because you took advantage of a elderly man that didn't understand what the fuck was going on. So fuck you, and I hope you all get what you deserve. Straight up. And I would say this to any fucking politician. I don't give a fuck if they're blue or red. I'm gonna tell you, you fuck up, you get what you deserve. Just like if I would run out here and do a fucking robbery, I would expect to go to fucking jail for at least 12 to 15, maybe 18 years. Yeah, y'all took advantage of a fucking elderly man. Smash that fucking like button, please. Support me. I need all the support possible. And there's a lot more that's coming. I could sit here for days and talk about shit.